Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be going over how Fred Kerley is so fast by breaking down his sprinting mechanics. We're going to start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab.
Reach your individual goals.
We don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video.
Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become.
All right, so I think there's a few really important things to be able to really look into when it comes to top speed. And the reason I think a video like this is important is as a track and field athlete, or even as just a regular athlete as well, if you really want to be able to make the most improvement, you have to be doing it at top speed. If you want to be able to be an elite track and field athlete or an elite sprinter, you have to be able to really improve that top speed overall, right? To be able to get into those really elite level of time yard splits and even just top times in general. Fred Kerley, top speed like 25 to 26 miles an hour. I've seen a few times he's at like the 41 kilometers per second. And that translates to 25.4 miles per hour. So the first thing that stands out with him is he just does a really good job of being very vertical. And I found this with people lately, as myself as well, is that there seems to be a leg that ends up being a little bit more of like your horizontal force producing leg, the leg that's going to be able to get more pull. And then there's also going to be, which to me looks like his left leg. And then there's going to be another leg, which is going to be a little bit more of the vertical aspect, or is it a little bit better being able to create vertical force, which to me looks like that right leg, right? So the right leg, he doesn't get as far through. He really comes a lot more down with this leg. But either way, he's 6'3", he's a big dude, 205 pounds, it says here on Wikipedia. His weight probably ranges a little bit, but what we want to be able to see here is when he's striking, you can see how upright he is overall within the body. And when he's able to do that, one, he does a great job. So notice when this foot hits the ground right here, that opposite leg knee is already through. So he's doing a great job of being able to get that opposite leg through. And then he's very unique in being very quick to get that foot right back off the ground. So he landed at 0.36, is back off the ground at 0.44, so he has a 0.08 foot contact time. So he ends up spending a good amount of time off the ground. So we can see the timestamp there, 0.44, and then we get the left foot down there, so 0.60, right? So he spent 0.16 seconds off the ground right there. That's a good amount of time in terms of, you know, just the ability to really be floating in as you're at your top speed. And then he's right back off the ground, you know, very quickly. And even, you know, with that foot contact time, he's actually probably closer to 0.58. Sorry. And then the time off the ground would be 0.14. Okay. So either way, good amount of time spent off of the ground from foot contact time to when the foot comes back onto the ground. We're looking at about 0.44 seconds on the left, about 0.46 seconds on the right. And these numbers want to be fairly close, right? I see a lot of people that send in videos that are looking to improve. They're in like the speed program, and they're very off with one leg in comparison to the other. There's not a lot of coordination there. And that ends up making it so you have a cap on what your speed potential is. So you want to be very efficient in what you're doing with each one of your legs. As much as, like I said, there's one leg that's going to be a little bit more of a horizontal force in comparison to one that's going to be a little bit more of a vertical force. But what stands out to me is he just does a really, really good job of being able to cover a lot of distance per step. And while he ends up landing fairly vertical, I'm a lot more in teaching like the horizontal to really pull that foot underneath. But he does a good job because of how much range he's covering. He could still be able to stay pretty vertical with his stride and still be able to land with the foot underneath him very effectively, and that helps him in being able to, I think, get to really elite level speeds. And I think it also helps him in being able to really generate a lot of force down into the ground. I think it's really unique. You can see his position. He's very like extended within his toe, but he lands and is able to transition off the ground very effectively. I think that has a lot of strength within his feet, and he also does a pretty good job of being able to coordinate that within his arms, right? He's not very long with his arms. He's pretty short. He's pretty compact, but he still is able to utilize that very well. And you can see he has a big drop on his left side. So as he's getting into this left leg and as his left hip is about to touch the ground, he really ends up absorbing through there. And I think that helps him in being able to really push off. And because I've been trying to understand and trying to help guys better get the opportunity to be able to generate more of that horizontal action, right? Cover more ground more effectively. And I think for a lot of guys, what ends up being the case is that we need to be more effective at being able to strike the ground with that momentum coming back down underneath, like what he's doing here. But I've also found, especially in a case like him, there can be a degree of reliance on how you end up actually pushing off the ground with the toes, right? So you got to be able to be aware in what we're doing with that back leg, because we can see like on his right side, while he lands very vertical here, he pushes off. I mean, he's in triple extension. There's some people that talk about how you shouldn't even be getting into triple extension. He is in triple extension here as that foot's coming out the ground, which is really propelling him forward. So he lands very vertically, is able to push off in that horizontal action. And so why does all this end up being important is because it's another opportunity for you to be able to understand within your mechanics, how can you get better, right? What are some things that you can do? What are some things that are really holding you back? And this is why I'm a big proponent of utilizing video, right? Because this gives the opportunity for you to see what are you doing within your sprinting. So what I would do when you're watching this is, and comparing it to you, is what are you doing with your arms, right? Are you too long coming forward with your arms? Are you maybe not long enough coming back, or strong enough power coming back? I'm always telling guys you got to be more powerful with that foot coming down back behind you. How are you landing? Are you landing with the foot underneath your head, right? If we were going to draw a line here, we'd be able to see how good he is at doing with being able to land with that foot underneath his head. He's not on the ground here yet, right? So he's still off the ground. Now he strikes the ground. Right, we can see where his foot is, right? He's even past it. I mean, this is obviously not, the frame rate is not perfect. You can see this one seemed like it was a little bit better, okay? And we could see how aligned he is, right? Foot and head position, right? Really that earlobe, I think that arch in that earlobe ends up being really an important thing to be able to establish. When you land, where is that opposite side knee? Okay, also, where are our feet back behind, right? Are we doing a good job of being able to, on both sides, get your feet all the way up? Do you have a good recovery, good transition, good heel recovery at top speed? How well do we get our legs through, right? What's the knee position? What's the foot position as we get our legs through? How much time are we spending off of the ground? Okay, and these are things that obviously I look at. I'm able to do it fairly quickly because I've looked at so many different sprinters and been able to really get a better understanding of like what ends up being the most important, right? So, and I look at this not only when it comes to your top speed, but also your drive phase, right? As you're accelerating, your start, your like first 3 steps, and really be able to better understand like what are the main things that we need to be able to improve, and let's start to be and focus on that. Let's spend time in being able to understand the difference between what you're doing and what you should be doing, and again, just now invest the time into your development as a sprinter to make it so you're actually able to make improvements. And I think a lot of guys or a lot of people are just spending time, working out or lifting weights just for the sake of working out, lifting weights, trying to get stronger. I think there's a lot of times that people are spending a lot of time sprinting and doing different types of sprint workouts without having any type of specific parts of their game that they're trying to work on, right? I was playing golf this morning. I was talking to some guys about golf, and I can guarantee you a lot of those guys in golf are very specific what it is they work on. A lot of those pros, right? If you're maybe having a hard time getting out of the sand, or having a hard time with a certain area, or like maybe putting, maybe certain types of shots, like that's what you're going to spend all your time on. You're not going to just play a bunch of rounds of golf as a golfer, because that's just waste time, right? You want to be able to, I mean, obviously they play rounds, but you want to be able to, when it comes to practice, get very specific, because the more specific you can get, the better it's going to translate for you when it comes into your actual improvement, right? So now you can better predict how much you're going to improve from season to season, from week to week, from month to month, because now we know how much improvement we're getting within your top speed. We know how much you're improving within your steps, and maybe your start, and how much distance you're covering, maybe your full contact time. All those things are being predicted. The more objective you can get, then the better you have of understanding like can you expect in terms of your development, your improvement. And I think, again, too many people are not spending the time or utilizing the resources to be able to make it so they can improve, certainly not for a long period of time. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that makes it so you guys can connect to that and understand that, and of course utilize it to your best capabilities, and make it so you can improve when it comes to sprinting in all the aspects of sprinting. So Yeah, if you like the information, click that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations, you can leave those down below. Check the description in order to check out what we have when it comes to sprinting and some programs that we have. Right now, I'm redoing the website, so that for the next 2 to 3 days, there might be some issues within the website. So if there ends up being any problems there, you could just go ahead and shoot me an email. We'd be happy to give you more information. We'd be happy to hop on a Zoom call and give you more information about some of our programs, some of the things that we're offering to help you and improve your performance when it comes to sprinting, when it comes to improving your top speed, just overall times in general. And I know that a lot of the track and field athletes, their seasons are coming to an end. So I'm sure there's going to be some people that are looking to get faster. And I'm really looking forward to being able to do that here in the next few months. As always, thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.